Hey guys, I'm about to be reading two chapters from the book called The Little Prince, and this is how it's gonna go. He found himself in the neighborhood of the asteroids 325, 326, 327, 328, 329, and 330. So he started it by visiting them to look for an occupation and to add to his knowledge. The first one was inhabited by a king, clad in purple and ermine. He was seated on a throne, both simple and majestic. "Ah, here comes a subject," exclaimed the king when he spied the little prince. And the little prince wondered to himself, how can he recognize me since he has never seen me before? He did not know that for kings the world is greatly simplified. To them, all men are subjects. "Come a little closer so that I may see you better," said the king, inordinately proud of having someone to be king over at last. The little prince looked around to find a place to sit down, but the entire planet was covered by the magnificent ermine robe. So he remained standing, and since he was tired, he yawned. "It is contrary to etiquette to yawn in the presence of a king," said the monarch. "I forbid it." "I cannot help it," replied the little prince, in confusion. "I have come on a long journey, and I haven't slept at all." "In which case," said the king, "I order you to yawn. I have not seen anybody yawning for years. Yawns are a curiosity to me. Come now, yawn again. It is an order." "You're frightening me. I cannot yawn anymore," said the little prince, blushing. "Hum hum," replied the king. "Then I order you sometimes to yawn and sometimes to..." He spluttered a bit and seemed vexed, for the king attached considerable importance to his authority being respected. He tolerated no disobedience. He was an absolute monarch, but as he was very kind, he gave reasonable orders. "If I ordered a general," he would say, "if I ordered a general to change himself into a seabird, and if the general did not obey, it wouldn't be the general's fault. It would be my fault for ordering him to do the impossible." "May I sit down?" asked the little prince shyly. "I order you to sit down," replied the king, majestically gathering a fold of his ermine robe around him. But the little prince was puzzled. The planet was tiny. Over what could this king really rule? "Sire," he began, "please excuse my asking you a question." "I order you to put your question to me." The king was quick to reply, "Sire, over what do you rule?" "Over everything," replied the king very simply. "Over everything?" The king made a sweeping gesture, taking in his own planet, the other planets, and the stars. "Over all that?" said the little prince. "Over all that," replied the king. For he was not only an absolute monarch, but a universal one. "And the stars obey?" "Of course," said the king. "They obey immediately. I do not tolerate insubordination." The little prince marveled at such power. Had he possessed it, he could have watched not 44, but 72, or even 100 or 200 sunsets in one and the same day without ever having to move his chair. And as he was feeling rather sad, remembering his small abandoned planet, he plucked up the courage to ask the king a favor. "I should like to see a sunset. Please, do me that kindness. Order the sun to set." "If I were to order a general to fly from one flower to another like a butterfly, or to write a tragedy, or to change himself into a seabird, and if the general did not carry out the order, which one of us would be at fault?" "It would be you," said the little prince firmly. Exactly. One must demand of each and every one what he or she is capable of. Authority is first and foremost based on reason. If you order your people to throw themselves into the sea, you will have a revolution on your hands. I have the right to demand obedience because my orders are reasonable ones. What about my sunset? The little prince reminded him, for he never forgot a question once he had asked it. You shall have your sunset. I shall demand it. But in accordance with scientific government, I shall wait until conditions are favorable. And when will that be? Asked the little prince. Hum hum, replied the king, consulting his big calendar. Hum hum, it'll be it'll be this evening, about 20 minutes to 8, and you shall see how well I'm obeyed. The little prince yawned. He regretted having to miss the sunset, but he was becoming a little bored. I have nothing more to do here, he said to the king, so I'll be on my way. Don't leave, said the king, who was proud of having a subject. I'll make you a minister. A minister of what? Of justice. But there's nobody here to judge. We do not know that, said the king. I haven't yet made a complete tour of my kingdom. I am very old, and walking makes me very tired, but there is no room here for a carriage. Oh, but I already looked, said the little prince, bending down to give one more glance to the other side of the planet, just to be sure. Then you shall judge yourself, answered the king. That is the most difficult thing of all. It is far more difficult to judge oneself to judge others. If you succeed in judging yourself rightly, then indeed you are very wise. As far as I'm concerned, said the little prince, I can judge myself anywhere. I do not have to live here. Hum hum, said the king. I believe that somewhere on my planet there is an old rat. I can hear him at night. You can judge that old rat. You will condemn him to death from time to time. Thus his life will depend upon your justice. But on each occasion, you will spare him so as to keep him alive. He's the only one we have. I, replied the little prince, do not like to condemn anything to death, and I think I'll be on my way. No, said the king. The little prince, having completed his preparations, had no wish to hurt the feelings of the old monarch. If your majesty wishes to be promptly obeyed, you should give me a reasonable order. You could, for example, order me to be gone in less than a minute. It seems to me that conditions are favorable. As the king said nothing, the little prince hesitated a moment, and then, with a sigh, took his leave. I make you my ambassador, the king called after him in haste. He had a magnificent air of authority. Grown-ups are very strange, said the little prince to himself, continuing on his journey. The second planet was inhabited by a conceited individual. Aha! Here comes an admirer, he exclaimed as from afar he caught sight of the little prince. For conceited men see all other men as admirers. Good morning, said the little prince. You're wearing a funny kind of hat. It is a hat for salutes, the conceited man replied. To raise when people acclaim me, unfortunately, nobody ever comes this way. Indeed, said the little prince, who did not understand what the conceited man was talking about. Clap your hands, the conceited man advised. The little prince clapped his hand. The conceited man raised his hat in a modest salute. This is more fun than my visit to the king, the little prince said to himself, and he tried clapping his hands again. The conceited man once again raised his hat in a salute. After 5 minutes of this exercise, the little prince grew tired of the monotony of the game. "And to make you lower your head, what should one do?" he asked. But the conceited man didn't hear him. Conceited men only hear praise. "Do you really admire me very much?" he asked the little prince. "What does admire mean?" "To admire means that you considered me the handsomest, the best dressed, the richest, and the most intelligent man on this planet. But you are all alone on your planet. Do me this kindness. Admire me all the same." "I admire you," said the little prince, with a slight shrug of his shoulders. "But why should that mean so much to you?" And the little prince went away. "Grown-ups are really very odd," he said to himself as he continued on his journey.